What's up, everybody? Welcome to this glossary of astrological branches. Yes, from A through Z, we're going to talk about astrological branches and break them down for you guys. But before we get started, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe, like, comment, and share if you dare and care, with peace and love, so we can grow the channel and get people to learn astrology for free. So, our A words here. As we can see, we have agricultural astrology, which is a branch that uses celestial cycles to guide planting, harvesting, and livestock management. Rooted in ancient Mesopotamian almanacs, it persisted through Greek geoponica, medieval European farming calendars, and remains active in biodynamic agriculture. So, for example, the work of Rudolf Steiner. It basically emphasizes lunar phases, zodiacal sign affinities, and planetary hours. Alright, simple enough. So now let's get into astrocartography, or astrogeography. It's a modern branch that maps planetary lines onto world geography. It was developed by Jim Lewis in the 1970s. It interprets how planetary energies manifest in different locations based on the angles, ascendant, midheaven, etc. they occupy at a given birthplace, used for relocation analysis and understanding place-based life themes. Alright. And so now we just get into what even is astrology, simplified. It is a contemporary hybrid branch that integrates astrology with logos-based disciplines, such as branding, business strategy, or data science. It emphasizes symbolic consultation for organizations and individuals, often using computational methods. Alright, our B words here, we start with Babylonian astrology. It's a foundational tradition, circa 1800 through 300 BCE, that developed the zodiac, planetary omens, and the first mundane astrology. Its primary branch was celestial divination, recording planetary positions and eclipses to predict state affairs, weather, and harvest. It introduced the concept of dodekatam, or 12-part divisions, that later influenced Hellenistic houses. Alright. Biodynamic astrology. It's a branch derived from Rudolf Steiner's agricultural principles, combining lunar and planetary rhythms with planting calendars. It treats the cosmos as an active participant in soil and plant vitality, often used alongside alchemical and anthroposophical perspectives. Alright, and business astrology. Corporate astrology. A modern branch applying natal and mundane techniques to companies using incorporation charts, stock market cycles, and planetary transits to analyze organizational strengths, mergers, and market timing, closely related to financial astrology. Alright, now let's talk about our C words here. Katarchic astrology. The ancient term from Greek katarsi, beginning, for electional astrology, choosing auspicious moments to initiate actions, central to Hellenistic, Roman, and Islamic astrological practice. It was used for everything from surgery to travel to founding cities. Chinese astrology is a family of traditions encompassing 4 pillars of destiny, Bazi, based on the year, month, day, and hour of birth, expressed through heavenly stems and earthly branches, emphasizes the balance of the 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, water, and yin-yang. Zaiwi Dushu, Emperor Star Astrology, a complex system of 12 palaces and hundreds of stars focusing on life themes and destiny. As well as Kimen Dongjia, a form of divinatory astrology used for strategic timing and spatial orientation. Chinese astrology is deeply integrated with Taoist cosmology, lunar calendar systems, and Feng Shui. What is a composite chart? A modern relational branch that constructs a midpoint chart from 2 individuals' natal charts to represent the relationship itself rather than the individuals alone. Developed in the 20th century, notably by John Townley and Robert Hand, as an extension of synastry. Cosmobiology. It's a mid-20th century branch founded by Reinhold Eberton, combining traditional astrology with the Hamburg school's emphasis on midpoints. It reduces the number of factors to planets, midpoints, and a fixed set of aspects, and is often practiced with a psychological focus. Right. D for Decanic Astrology, an ancient Egyptian branch that divided the zodiac into 36 decans, 10-degree segments, each associated with a specific star group or deity, used for hourly timekeeping, medical astrology, and talismanic magic. Decans later integrated into Hellenistic and medieval astrological magic. Divisional charts, Varga, a branch within Vedic astrology, Jyotisha, that subdivides the natal chart into 16 or more harmonic charts. For example, Navamsa for marriage, Dasamsa for career. Each Varga offers a specialized lens on a life domain, reflecting the principle that the whole person can be understood through fractal harmonics. Alright, our E words. Electional astrology. It's the branch of selecting optimal times for undertakings such as weddings, launches, surgeries, rituals, found in every astrological culture from Babylonian to Hellenistic to Islamic, Vedic, Chinese. It rests on the principle that the quality of a beginning influences the outcome. Esoteric astrology, a branch derived from the teachings of Alice Bailey and the Tibetan master Dijewal Kul in the early 20th century. It interprets the chart in terms of soul-centric evolution, ray energies, and the spiritual hierarchy, often distinguished from psychological astrology by its emphasis on transpersonal purpose and initiatory cycles. Evolutionary astrology, a modern branch developed by Jeffrey Wolf Green and others, synthesizing depth psychology, reincarnation concepts, and Pluto as a central indicator of soul intention. It interprets the chart as a map of the soul's evolutionary journey across lifetimes with an emphasis on healing and growth. Right. Financial astrology, a branch of applying planetary cycles to economic markets, stock indices, and commodities. Historically linked to mundane astrology, for example, forecasting famine or prosperity, modern financial astrologers use planetary aspects, ingresses, and cycles such as the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction to analyze market trends. Let's talk about the 4 pillars of destiny a little bit here. It's a part of Chinese astrology, which I technically already went over, but yeah. So, G for genetheliology, the Greek term for natal astrology, the interpretation of a chart cast for the moment of birth, became the dominant branch in Hellenistic, medieval, and modern Western astrology. Genetheliology established the foundational concepts of houses, aspects, and planetary condition. All right. So H for Hamburg School, also known as Uranian astrology, a 20th century German branch founded by Alfred Witt and Friedrich Sigrun. It introduced hypothetical trans-Neptunian planets, for example Cupido, Hades, Zeus, and a systematic use of midpoints in planetary pictures, often used for precise predictive work and event analysis. Hellenistic astrology, the tradition that crystallized in the Greco-Roman world, circa 150 BCE through 600 CE, synthesizing Babylonian and Egyptian techniques. It established the core branches of natal genetheliology, mundane, horary, and catarchic astrology. Key concepts include the thema mundi, high leg, lots, Arabic parts, and the system of houses as places. Horary astrology. It is a branch that answers specific questions by casting a chart for the moment the question is clearly understood, originating in the Hellenistic period and systematized in medieval, Islamic, and European traditions. For example, William Lilly operates on the principle of cosmic correspondence. The heavens reflect the situation at the time of inquiry. Right. Iatromathematics, the medieval and Renaissance term for medical astrology. It combined planetary rulerships of body parts, humors, and critical days with diagnosis and treatment timing. Figures like Hippocrates, Galen, and Paracelsus integrated astrological considerations into medical theory. Ilm al-Nujum, Islamic astrology. The Arabic tradition that preserved and expanded Hellenistic astrology from the 8th to 15th centuries. Key branches included Ahkam al-Nujum, judicial astrology, Mawalid, natal, Masil, horary, Ikhtiyarat, elections, and Dual, mundane. It contributed major innovations, the Arabic parts, lots, sophisticated house systems, and the transmission of astrology to medieval Europe. Alright. So Jyotisha, Vedic astrology, the astrological tradition of India, rooted in the Vedanga Jyotisha circa 1400 BCE, and elaborated in classical texts like Bharat Parasara Horasastra. It uses the sidereal zodiac, nakshatras, lunar mansions, and dasa planetary period systems for predictive timing. These are the major branches here. So Jataka is natal, Prasna is horary, Muhurta is electional, Gola is astronomical, spherical, Nimitta is omen interpretation. Jyotisha remains a living tradition with strong ties to Dharma, medicine, Ayurveda, and spiritual practice. Alright, K is again Katarshi. We talked about Katarchic astrology. Alright, L is to expand on lunar mansions, a branch of astrology found in multiple cultures that divides the ecliptic into 27 or 28 segments based on the moon's daily motion. Nakshatras, Vedic, 27 divisions, each with ruling deities, symbols, and planetary lords. Manzils, Islamic and Arabic, 28 mansions used for weather, agriculture, and talismanic magic, as well as Yu, Chinese, 28 lunar mansions, Yu, integrated with the 4 symbols. Lunar mansion astrology is used for electional, medical, and spiritual timing. Alright. We have a few M words here. Mayori astrology, also known as Maramataka, is an indigenous Polynesian tradition centered on the lunar calendar, Maramataka. It tracks moon phases and their influence on planting, fishing, health, and community activities. Contemporary revival integrates ancestral knowledge with ecological sustainability. Mayan astrology, the astrological tradition of the Maya civilization, is based on the Tzolk'in 260-day sacred calendar and the Hab 365-day solar calendar. It assigns specific energies, deities, and symbolic meanings to each day, and branches include Chu'umu, day sign analysis for personal destiny, calendar round combinations for electional and mundane purposes, Venus cycle tracking for warfare and ritual timing. Medical astrology, we talked about briefly, so Iatro mathematics, Jyotisha, Ayurvedic integration, and Un-Ani Tib, Islamic medical astrology. Went over a little briefly. Meteorological astrology. It is an ancient branch predicting weather patterns from planetary configurations, lunar phases, and fixed star risings, codified by Ptolemy, Tetrabiblos II, and practiced in medieval farming manuals. It continues in biodynamic agriculture and some folk traditions. Mundane astrology. The branch concerned with world events, political shifts, natural disasters, economic cycles, and collective trends. Originating in Babylonian omen texts, it was refined by Hellenistic, Islamic, and medieval astrologers. Modern mundane astrology includes analysis of ingresses, especially Aries ingress, eclipses, conjunctions of slow-moving planets, and national charts. Alright, and for natal astrology, which we talked about, so genealogy and Jyotisha, Jataka. Omens, celestial divination. The precursor to formal astrology practiced in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and China. It interpreted celestial phenomena, such as eclipses, comets, planetary conjunctions, meteors, as signs from the gods or as indicators of earthly events. It remains a branch within mundane astrology and some traditional schools. Alright, P is for psychological astrology, a modern branch that interprets the chart as a map of the psyche, integrating depth psychology, Jung, Hillman, and humanistic approaches. Pioneered by Dane Rudar, Liz Green, Stephen Arroyo, and others, it emphasizes archetypal dynamics, developmental stages, and self-awareness over prediction. Alright, Q for Kimen Danjia, and that's what we talked about with Chinese astrology. R is for relational astrology, an umbrella term for branches analyzing interpersonal dynamics. So synastry, comparing two natal charts to assess compatibility and tension. Composite charts, midpoint charts representing the relationship entity. Davison relationship charts are charts for the date and time a relationship began. Rooted in Hellenistic synastry, for example, Antiochus of Athens, it was revived and expanded in the 20th century. So Renaissance astrology, a period from the 14th through 17th centuries that saw astrology's integration with Neoplatonism, Hermeticism, and magic. Branches included astrological medicine, talismanic magic, for example, Ficino, political astrology, and the flourishing of horary, for example, Lilly. It blended Hellenistic, Islamic, and new humanist perspectives. Sidereal astrology, a branch using the actual astronomical positions of constellations as a reference for the zodiac, as opposed to the tropical zodiac aligned with equinoxes. It is the foundation of Vedic Jyotisha in some modern Western sidereal schools, for example, Cyril Fagan. Sidereal astrologers often emphasize star lore, fixed stars, and precession correction. Synastry we also talked about with relational astrology. They go hand in hand. Alright, Tibetan astrology is a syncretic tradition combining Indian, Jyotisha, Chinese, elemental astrology, and indigenous Bon cosmology. So branches include elemental astrology, Zhangzi, based on 12 animal signs, 5 elements, and the Miwa, magic square. Astronomical astrology, Kartsi, derived from Kalachakra Tantra, using planetary and lunar calculations for spiritual timing, medicine, and determining personal energies. Alright, traditional astrology is a broad revival moment, late 20th century through present, that reclaims Hellenistic, medieval, and Renaissance techniques, often using the tropical zodiac, whole sign houses, and ancient doctrines of planetary condition, essential and accidental dignity. It contrasts with modern psychological and esoteric branches by emphasizing predictive accuracy and historical continuity. Tropical astrology, the dominant Western system aligning the zodiac with the vernal equinox, 0 degrees Aries at spring equinox, used in most modern Western psychological and evolutionary astrological branches. Its philosophical basis lies in the seasonal cycle as the fundamental frame of meaning. Alright, U for Uran in astrology. Hamburg School we talked about. Vedic astrology, Jyotisha we've talked about. Western astrology is a broad umbrella encompassing Hellenistic, medieval, Renaissance, modern psychological, and contemporary eclectic branches. It is characterized by the tropical zodiac, a diversity of house systems, and ongoing dialogue with astronomy, psychology, and philosophy. And finally, Z is for Zaiwei Dao Shu Si, Chinese astrology, for the expansion. This glossary is a living document. The Advanced Astrology Institute encourages practitioners to explore each branch within its cultural and historical context, recognizing that astrology's unity lies not in uniformity, but in the shared human impulse to read meaning in the heavens. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one with peace and love. Piscean out.